She worked hard for the money, so hard, honey, honey. Okay, guys, what the hell am I up to now? Like I didn't have enough on my plate, I've decided to start It Was All a Dream official podcast by your host, Ashley Greggins. Welcome to our first episode of the podcast. Today, I just want to really introduce what I am up to, what my thoughts are. Worst case scenario, I am just going to have so many documents of my journey. I have had my business for 8 years now, but we actually only just started to getting into content creating, if that's what we want to call it. I don't know, maybe a year ago, but I moved into the super build. If you don't know much about my business, the next episode is all going to be about my journey and my business. But just to give you a little lowdown, I own Elegance. Elegance is a skin clinic. It is a training academy that is just fairly new. And it is also a skincare brand that we do sell on TikTok. So I am very used to having a camera in my face now, to be honest with you. And that is not something that, if you'd have told me 18 months ago that I was going to start a podcast, I'd have thought you were absolutely crazy. And I would not have, in my wildest dreams, imagined. To the point, I'm going to start the podcast with a little story. So we have kept all the old YouTube videos on here purposely. So they don't really fit the bill. They don't really fit in with what we're trying to do now with It Was All a Dream official. But we are keeping them on there just so we can just so I can look back in a few years and just see how far I have developed and how much more confident I am in front of a camera, which was not always the case. Ella started working with me 2.5 years ago, and on her first day, on her actual interview, I'd actually said to her, can you do YouTube? Can you do video editing? Because it was always something that I wanted to start and do. And she was like, yeah. I mean, I think she just winged it, but she's definitely picked up on everything that she needed to do. But she was like, yeah. So I was like, okay. And she must have thought that maybe I was already on it, already doing it. And then we got to recording the first. So I brought out these silk pillows and we got to recording the first, an introduction and what the benefits of silk pillows. And I literally couldn't string a sentence. So every sentence would then clip. And then I would look at the camera and I would fix my hair. So honestly, it was like silk pillows, clip. And then I'd turn another way, fix my hair to go separately. And then we'd have to mesh them all together. So we were about 45 minutes into the first 3 sentences. And I have only employed Ella for no more than a week, maybe 10 days. And I was like, okay, we're going to have to go over to the offie. This is her boss, by the way. Think about this. You're going to have to go to the offie and you're going to have to get me a bottle of Prosecco. Now, Prosecco is not my drink. Prosecco is my crazy drink. The bubbles go right to my head. But for some reason, I thought that would be better than, can you go to the offie and get me 4 Coronas? I thought that'd sound better. So I'd had 2 glasses of Prosecco, got behind the camera, and we done that video in 20 minutes. So I was not always this confident, and I was, you know what, maybe I was, my mum and dad paid, in another lifetime, I was actually going to own a dance and drama school. So all my GCSEs are in media, they're all in dance, drama. I went to Mary Halford's School of Dance since I was, maybe 8. I've danced in Paris. I've sang with David Gray, which is one of my I like to get that out there when I've had a drink. So maybe I was, and maybe this is all just coming back out on me now. But the one thing that I do want to make clear is I am not as confident as I may look. And I know that sounds mad because I'm sitting in front of a camera and I've started a whole podcast, which is basically going to be about me. But I just like people to know that you can get to this level of confidence. And what drives me is the money. It's what you don't. If I could, I'm going to get down to money, and I'm going to get down. This podcast is going to just be a little bit about everything. It's going to be really interesting for you to see a different side of me. But what drives me is I know if I put a video on and it's me selling my 2K Gold Cream, that is going to do much better than a video of just the 2K Gold Cream. I know if I get in front of that camera and I talk about a course or a seminar that we've launched, I know it's going to book up. Where if we just do a post and with description and writing, it doesn't. So just gradually over time, this level of confidence has just grew, and it's grew because it works, and it really does work. But I want to make it very clear that I am my biggest critic. I am laughing at myself before any of yous are. So I know right now that literally I am like, I know that people are going to be like, well, who the fuck does she think she is? What the fuck is she up to now? And that's fine, because I question this every day. I question this a lot. I am actually sitting here now thinking, who the hell is going to listen to this? Who wants to listen to me talk about business? But I do need a little space, and I need somewhere to put all this, because it's getting to the point now where clients are coming in for a facial and they are hearing about my 5-year plan. They are leaving with my full business plan as if they are investors that are going to invest in my plan. So I need somewhere to put this. I need somewhere to offload all of this information and all these plans and all of these goals, and this is exactly where it's going to go. And we're going to go here, and it's going to be my little safe space. It's going to go on YouTube. If nobody watches it. I will absolutely love to watch it, especially when I'm old and wrinkly, and I'll be like, oh, remember when I had that skin? Remember when I was that beautiful? So that's where we're going with it, and that's my goal for It Was All a Dream official podcast. Now, the idea of the podcast is actually a lot deeper than that. It's not just going to be about me. It's not going to be, me just sitting here and talking about my business. It's more about, I'm finding now, so I'm 8 years into my business. 2 years was COVID, and I always find it hard. I always feel like, can I say 8 years? Should I say 6 years? But I actually thrived in the lockdown, and I created a whole skincare brand, which we will get into in episode 2. So it's been 8 years, and I'm seeing a lot now. So in my industry, especially, it's very easy to make 10K a month. And that number gets thrown around. So it gets thrown around. It's like, come and let me teach you how to make 10K a month. Go into the aesthetics, you'll make 10K a month. So 10K a month, absolutely. Especially now that I'm at this stage and I'm quite established. 10K a month is a comfortable month for me. My outgoing, so before I wake up on the first of any month, I have to find 5 grand. So my outgoings is £5,000 before I have even looked at stock, before I've even looked at petrol, before I've even looked at lunch, before anything like that. Just my actual what goes incomings, outgoings. So 10K, there's 5 grand gone already. Then every single time I have made a little bit of pocket change, I've invested in something else. I mean, this is the prime example. Elegance Aesthetics was what I started with. So Elegance Aesthetics is now funded EA training. It's now funded Cosmetology with Elegance, and it is now funding It Was All a Dream official podcast. So that 10K a month, it runs short, and this is just where I want to go with the podcast. This is what I am going to talk figures, and I am an open book when it comes to all of that. I talk about money, and I know, so I was always taught that talking about money was quite tacky. And if you spoke about money, then you didn't have money. But I've just got this massive interest in money. I'm educating myself in money. I've just listened to Rich Dad, Poor Dad for the second time and understood it a lot more than I did the first time. I am reading now The Psychology of Money, and it's just something that I am just fascinated in, not in a materialistic way in the slightest. All I wanted was a car with aircon. That's all I wanted in life. I've been 8 years in my business, and all I wanted was a car with aircon because I just have never had a car with aircon. Say if it would have been 3, 4 years ago, I'd have got the Range Rover, I'd have got the Lexus, I'd have gone and I'd have bought the Jaguar. That was just my state of mind. And I am so glad that I have actually started to make money a little bit later into my 30s, say, because now I've just bought a Nissan Qashqai, stunning, absolutely luxury, cameras all round, everything you wanted. All I wanted was aircon, glass roof. It's absolutely gorgeous, but it's so cheap to run. It's so affordable for me. It's not gonna kill me if I want to go for a mortgage. It's not low. And a few years ago, that just wasn't me. They just weren't the things I was thinking about. All I wanted was, I was under the impression that I needed a good car because I was in such a industry where you expected to have a good car. I used to drive to Chester and I'd get mentors in Chester and I'd pull up and I had this listen, I bought myself this car when I was like 24. It was a Citroen DS Sport. So I bought it cash, which at 24 buying it cash, you know what I mean? Like I was doing well. It was the cutest little automobile ever. I was so proud of it. I got elegance all over it. It was black and gold was elegance them days. That was the branding. So I got elegance right up the sides, got my website on it, and I loved it. I ran that car to the ground. I was still driving it at 31. 31. I didn't think it was cute anymore. I didn't want my logo on it. I didn't want everybody to know where I was and when I was. But I was at that time, I couldn't afford a flashy car, a nice car, because a part of my story, which we are definitely going to get into, is I started my business and I was in an IVA. So I think I started the business at 25. 24 is probably thinking about it or had just set it up. 25 is when I started it. And I was in, now it sounds like just so minimal. And I don't mean to sound like pretentious isn't the word, but I don't mean to sound like I'm diminishing this percentage of money. But I was in £7,000 worth of debt. I'd rang catalogues up. I had contract phones that I hadn't paid. I'd moved out really young and just decided that the Wi-Fi bill, the lecky bill, like I just was not scared of bailiffs. It's insane. Like now it makes my skin crawl. But I always used to have this joke with my cousin and I'd be like, they can get me when they're 30. Oh, I've got loads of time to pay that off. They can catch me when I'm 30. To the point that when I moved out of my first house, I used to walk into the local pub by ours, and the person that had moved in to this house would be like, Ash, I've had bailiffs at the house again. And I'd be like, I know, that's why I moved out. Like, stop. Now I am a totally different person. Totally. I am so scared to miss a bill now. But yeah, I was someone who started. So everything up until this year, everything I had bought, everything I owned, everything I'd established, I couldn't get anything on credit. I couldn't pay for any of my courses on credit. Didn't have a credit card. I couldn't even have a contract phone. It wasn't in my name. Nothing. My older brother, Stephen, he actually got me my first card on finance because there was no way I was getting a card on finance. So that is a big part of my story, and that is something that I want to share. And I want to, this is how open I'm going to be on this podcast. So it was £7,000 worth of debt. And if I went into an IVA, which squashed it, they knocked the interest off, it was £5,000. So I paid £70 a month for 5 years. And I only finished that IVA in July last year. Paying that monthly bill was probably the start of how I just got into a program of paying bills back. And, it just like kind of trains me into, actually, this is really important. How crazy is that, to some people they'd be listening to me, but honestly, like, I just didn't think paying bills was that important. I just like honestly thought it was just one of these things that like losers do. And like, who wants a credit card? Who wants to get a loan anyway? Like, what the hell? I'm not. So paying that £70 a month for that 5 years, it was a tough lesson for me to learn. It really was. But it was one of the best lessons, honestly. It reprogrammed me to the woman that I am now. So it was good. Yeah, it was. And I was so like, look, one thing I'm going to tell about me, sorry, is I am never proud of myself. It's crazy. I am such one of these people. The minute I tick off something, it's what's next. It's what's next. To the point, I renovated a whole warehouse earlier this year for it to be the super build. So I've always had a 5-year plan. We're going to get into all of this. This is like an intro of episode 1, and then episode 2, I'm going to get really into my story so you can get to know me, if anybody's listening who doesn't know me, feels so strange, but you can get to know me. But yeah, anything I've ever ticked off, and I am the biggest goal getter. I am so into that shit, like, you don't understand. I sleep with a vision board so I can see it. It's on the wall. I've got goals the size of my arm wrote on me notes on my phone. I am just so into manifesting, and I am so good at it. I am so powerful, like, you don't understand. There is definitely like a white witch inside of me somewhere, because I get everything I want because I work hard for it, but I just don't stop until I get it. Like, it's just, but what happens is it just passes me by, and it's so sad and it's so annoying. It's like, I remember standing in this super build, and all I wanted was a super build. I just wanted a super build. It's three clinic rooms, an academy. It's got a media TikTok room. It's got a fabulous reception. It's got a full kitchen in the back. And then there is actually an adjoining warehouse, which I'm hoping to grow into. Well, I will grow into. So I just needed this space, and once I was here, everything was and I remember, like, it was bare concrete, bare brick. It was like a warehouse. It was actually an old dairy farm, and then it was a bed centre. I mean, I'm sure there was something in between and stuff, but that's all I know from it. It was nothing that a clinic could ever be. Like, you would never imagine that I stood in it and was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, how is this going to be a clinic? But it just is. And I remember thinking, like, after this one, Ash, like, after this, like, all I wanted to do was crack open a bottle of champagne in the middle of the floor, sit on the floor with champagne and my jammies on. Like, that's all I kept promising myself. As my years are going on, and as I'm getting a little bit older and a little bit wiser, I've stopped drinking as such. So it's not that I've stopped drinking. I like a glass of something here and there. I actually really enjoy a glass of something here and there. But one is every podcast I listen to, every single successful person that I aspire to be, every single business owner, every entrepreneur, they always give up drinking. So I think that's where it started. I listened to the 50 Cent audiobook, and I was so shocked to find out that he actually doesn't drink. But what he does is he goes to the clubs and whatever. Like, I sound like he goes to the club. But he goes to like nightclubs and stuff, and he doesn't want to kill the vibe, which it does if you're with a friend or you're with someone and they're not drinking. It literally, I know I am that like party pooper now. So he doesn't want to kill that vibe, and he has to be in nightclubs and he has to be around like that scene and stuff. So he'll buy a bottle of champagne, I'm sure it's his own brand, and he'll pass it around, and then on the sly he takes it, he gives it to a security guard, and they fill it with ginger ale. So he will be like there, he'll drink out of the bottle. It looks like he's partying. He says he doesn't need it. He can dance. He can still be in the same vibe. But he said that when he's watching and he's looking at his surroundings, and he said people get sloppy around you and they tell you your secrets, and I think it like generally just started from there, and then it's just far too taxable on my mental health now. Like, it is insane what one night out will do to me. Like, I am exhausted. I eat shit all week. I love my job. Like, I love it. Like, love it. I generally don't know if I know anybody else who enjoys it as much as I do. And I come from a long family of entrepreneurs. We've all got our own business, and I generally think that I've got it down to a T, where I just like I have not dreaded a Sunday, like a Monday dread, for I don't know, 6 years. Say, I just don't. I just love everything about it. I just have created this absolute just I can't even come to words. I have created this absolute just fabulous career for myself. I really have. Like, I honestly have. I enjoy everything about it. I just love my job anyway. So when I have had a drink, I get that, like, I'm tired, I don't want to go into work, I get really down, I start doubting myself, I start to think that my boyfriend doesn't love me anymore, I think that my mates hate me, I think, so as I've just got a little bit older, it's just not worth it for me, it just generally isn't. But when I do talk about drinking, so how I explain it is I'll have a drink, I don't get drunk, and that's generally it. And then every so often, every like 6 months, every and so on, we have a fuck it day, as I like to call it, and I will let my hair down because I am a ball. Like, I am so fun. Like, I'm fun without a drink, but I am a fun drunk, and everyone loves me. Me mum, me like me mates, me dad, they all love the fuck it days, but they are like short and thin. Like, they don't really come around too often. But when we do, we have a ball, and I allow myself to have it. So when I do talk about drinking, because I'm sure somewhere down the line in the podcast that will come up and we'll start to talk about that in a little bit more. I've just got so much to share, guys. I think you're going to be like, Ashley, like, stop talking. I promise that we are getting people on here as well. Now we'll start to talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, so all I wanted to do is I just wanted to drink up a glass of champagne, sit in the middle of the floor, and I literally wanted to just take it in. I honestly just wanted to just feel that moment that, like, oh, I've smashed it, I've done it. And I swear to you, I remember, like, my mates come and seeing it, my family come and seeing it, Ross's family, Ross is my partner, his family come to see it, and like, they all left and I was just left to clean up and stuff. And I remember just generally just being that stressed about getting open on the Monday, and then it just come by like a whirlwind. I think the doors still had chipboard in or something, so I was probably sulking over that. And I just remember, and now I've only just recently, because we've been looking at this YouTube channel again, I've gone back to the YouTube channel and watched the video of the whole where we're building the super builds. And I was so upset with myself the other day. I was like, why haven't you like digested what you've done? But I think I'm just so humble. I just don't think I realize sometimes of, what I've achieved and what I've done. And hopefully this podcast will be something else that will just fly by. Like I was saying to Ross yesterday, if nobody even listens to it, if nobody even goes on the page, like, at least I'll get. And then I was like, I don't know why I've just said that, because I know it's going to be a success, because everything I do is a success. Like, I am that confident. That level of confidence I do have. Business confidence, I have it. So the podcast, what I want to do is, so back to my trail of thought with it. So we're in this industry and we do 10 grand a month. Easy. Can be easy if you really put your head to it. You're going to spend 5-6 grand of that outgoings. You're going to get 4. That's basically that is a very good job. I am just such an open book, and I'm so real, and I'm not faking it till I've made it. I am showing the true ins and outs, the hard bits, the good bits, the sad bits. And I just hope that you will share this journey with me. One thing that I do have to say after everyone is please subscribe to the channel. So we've decided that we are going to just start this on YouTube. I've actually got a little 61 subscribers already on YouTube. So we're going to stream it on YouTube first. We're going to short clip it and we're going to do it on TikTok. TikTok is It Was All a Dream Official. And yeah, we're going to have some fun with it, guys. I already feel like I've got a weight lifted off my shoulders just by getting that little short intro out. So I hope that you've enjoyed today's episode, and we will be back in 2 weeks for episode 2. And please subscribe to the channel.